Well, I got injured in July of 2012. I was a football player before, and I just so happened that when I got hurt, a bunch of people heard about my injury, and then they started talking to me about coming to play basketball. Coming here has changed me, emotionally and physically, but it's kept me in shape. And then, and just being around a team again, and that camaraderie that they have, it's awesome. It's just like it was before. It's a whole new ball game. I mean, other than dribbling the ball and shooting, it's the same, but you're not sitting still dribbling. You're having to push the chair while dribbling. So, I mean, you got to learn to make the chair part of yourself, and that's what these straps are for. These straps strap you in pretty tight, so you're one with the chair. And my first month, I probably had a total of 25 blisters added up on my hands, and splits where your hands are splitting apart. But after a while, they callus up. It's just like, anything else. You get used to it, and then ever since then, you'll have maybe one blister every, couple weeks, couple months, something like that. It's not as bad as it was right at the beginning. But yeah, they're dirty. You got to watch where you put your hands. You try to wipe your face off with sweat, you make your face dirty, it turns black. You see my jersey, that's from wiping my face or even using my hands. It just gets dirty immediately. So you got to watch where you put your hands for sure. It's as aggressive or as competitive as any other sport I've ever played. I mean, I've played them all pretty much. I was a 5-sport athlete in high school, and and it's just as competitive, and I want people to know that it's not a slow game. It's actually pretty fast paced, and it's pretty rough. People get injured, and it's like any other sport.
That was the first feeling for me. Is just I liked the sport. It was challenging, it was tough, and that's really led me down this 4-year path and gotten me where it's gotten me. So the first day I got introduced to the sport, it was a fresh thing to me. I wasn't really familiar with it. I had no idea what I was getting myself into. But it's been it's been a blast. And the first day I got into it, I actually snuck into the Mizzou rec, and on a friend's ID that was going to the school, which I wasn't. And it turned out to be a great troublemaker move by me. But then Coach saw me that day with my prosthetic leg, and he told me I was playing the wrong sport in able-body basketball, because that's all I wanted to do is play some pickup. And so I hopped in a wheelchair that day and loved it. A couple days later, I signed on, transferred over from the community college, and never looked back. To play for two teams, University of Missouri and Team USA, is a balancing act for sure, but it's an honor to have that balancing act. It's a blast, and every week is a different place, it seems, but I love it like that, and I luckily have the support that allows me to do that. It took me about a year and a half to get to the speed that I thought I was comfortable at the collegiate level, and it's taken me about 3.5 years to get to the highest level of competition, speed-wise alone, and chair skills. It's just a growing process, and I'm never going to be a closed book. I always really enjoy learning, and I think that's what being an athlete is all about.
I was born with this injury, so I'm one of those people that it's hard to say how much of a story there is behind it, because I was simply born with it. I was born with amniotic band syndrome, which is a basic syndrome that wraps around, bands around the feet before you're born while your feet is still, and the constriction then simply pops the legs off. And being born in Ethiopia, the medical attention that I needed at the time wasn't there. So simply enough, I was just born without feet. And maybe the story of the injury isn't there, but the story of me developing around that injury is something that even I'm always surprised even by myself. My parents have always been there to support me as an adopted kid even. They had looked at me as any other son would to their parents and their parents back. And so they gave me a pair of prosthetics the moment that they adopted me. And I mean, it was interesting because I started walking at the age of 15 months old. I started walking really early. And because of that, it just seemed natural to me. And for some people, that development of getting past your injury is something that creates some hardships. My greatest hardships weren't even this injury. My greatest hardships was when I dislocated my knee wrestling. And for some people, and it's something that I think some people have to understand about the disabled community, people think that the stories have a tragedy to them that people don't want to talk about. I am completely open to talking about it. Everyone here is open to talk about it. It's not something fun, but it's something a part of us, and altogether it hasn't stopped us at all. Many people think a disability stops somebody, but we're here playing sports here still, and we're here playing just as competitive as any other team, going across states, and for some of us even going across country like Carter. And it's there. We are still people that play sports, that have academic ability, and still have ability to be great individuals.